All right. So yes, last year I started by giving the first session. This year I wanted to be the last one, just to keep it, unpredictable. Last time some people had the first session and they went away. So this time I want to keep them till the very end. But anyway, so how have you guys been receiving the information you've had? Is it something that you can implement? Something you can implement? Because that's one of the things we pride ourselves at Craft Your Future. We want to give practical strategies. We don't want to just come here and talk at a very high level, then you leave saying, so what did they say I start? What did they say? So it's important that, at least the people have gone very practical in terms of this is what you need to do. And the only bit missing now is you coming and physically meeting the people who have been here and starting those things that they've mentioned, right? So my session is just to wrap up and kind of put everything together that we have had for today. Now, I want to start with two questions, all right? Two questions. I'm not seeing anyone moving to write the question, but I hope you're ready for the questions. Eh? All right, the first question is, how different would your life be if you got an inheritance of 50 million? How different would your life be if you had an inheritance of 50 million? We keep talking about investing and all these things. And for some people, it just enters one ear and leaves the other. But imagine if it was you, your parent, did all the things we are talking about. And now you are waking up to 50 million from day one of being born. How different would your life be? In fact, some of you, all of you would not even be here at the summit. Where would you be? Where would you be? God intended you to be here. So, you make sure your kids are not at the summit. Okay? You make sure your kids are not at the summit. Second question. Have you ever created a budget when you didn't have money? And then you got money. Did you stick to it? Have you ever created a budget when you didn't have money? And then when you got money, did you stick to the budget? Some people are smiling. I think they know. Because whenever we don't have money, we're like, I have such good plans. All right? You're like, when I get this amount of money, I'm going to put 5 shillings, I'm going to tithe first. I'm going to do this and this. I'm going to put, all these great plans we have before we have the money. And then when the money comes, so that is our story. That is what mostly happens to all of us. When you're in campus, you know what you will do when you start earning money. But when you start earning money, what happens? Your money disowns you, or what? Let me start off with a confession, okay? Now, for a very long time, I believe that the reason people struggled financially is because they didn't have enough money. Okay? So the main reason why we struggled financially was because you didn't have enough money. But that was a false thing. Because we see people, even with money, still struggling. So where is the problem? Okay, so a bit of my story. So when I was preparing to graduate, final year, I was in Strathmore doing my Bachelor of Commerce, also doing my ACCAs. Sina acronyms mingi. And then at that time when you're graduating, the audit firms used to come to pick people from, the creme de la creme. They would call them up for management trainee positions. Now, the management trainee positions at that time, they used to pay people 70,000 shillings, entry level. Imagine, from university of negative to 70,000. Now, I knew I was not going to work in an audit firm. So my estimate or my prayer was, if I get a job that just pays me at least 50, I'm a 45, I'll be fine. Sindio? And then I prepared a budget of, even this thing, I'm still staying at home. I'll even be able to save 70% of this thing. My only expenses are what? Sea transport to work and home. Even food, I eat most of it at home. Sindio? See, it was a good plan. Sindio? And then I saved, then by 35, I would be working because I want to. Not because I have to. Sindio, enter my first job. So I started off as an intern. So I was earning 6K. So it was still not my prayer. So I was still allowed to spend all of it. Then after some time of working there, I graduated. So I reached like 45K. So I had reached my target. But now time had passed. I'd forgotten my budget. As the devil would have it, I was not that kind of guy who eats out. I was not that kind of guy. I would have all my meals at home. I cook. I loved to cook. I eat. But then now, when you have 45K, people are going for lunch. You're like, what are you guys going for? Fish leo. 20. Next thing, pizza, sato. As in, you start eating out a lot. All right? Once that was done, then I was never the guy to do impulse purchases. Who here relates? You are never the guy to do impulse purchases. Like, you just walk through a supermarket, innocently you went to buy 2 packets of milk. 2 packets of milk. But because your bank told you you're a premium member, they give you a card. So, and then Carrefour have this thing where the electronic section is so good. Before you know it, you're swiping, umenunua TV. Because I love football, so you live with 2 packets of milk and a TV. And you tell yourself, it was on sale. See, it was on sale. Yeah. I mean, I saved 10% off. But what I didn't tell myself is I still spent money I had not planned for. I just spent less. Okay? Now, again, I was a very serious man. Then this thing called road trip started. These things. Your circle of friends is important. You wake up one day, you are going to drop somebody kwa nyumba yake. Next thing, you're having lunch in Nakuru. I don't know what it is about the meat outside of Nairobi. I don't know. And then, as life would have it, you start advancing. Then I enter the dating scene. And in dating, in Nairobi, it's a continuous... So there's no end. So what happened? So I have my salary that initially was enough, more than enough for me. But now all of a sudden, I'm asking, end month inafika when? When the accountant says, signatory amepotea. You're almost saying, where is he? I can go. Nimtafute, assign check. Sindio, who is relating with this story? Exactly. You can't wait for that end month. And of course, my troubles didn't end there. I had one more friend. Everyone has that friend who has scammed them of money. Either it is a friend or a stranger or somebody, they come and tell you there's a very good deal. Or there's a very good business. or there's a very good plot somewhere where you need to buy something, and you'll always make your money very fast. But have you ever asked your friend, if this was a very good deal, why are you telling me? So you just go make it yourself, and then you come tell me, where niliangukia? It's a sad thing that happens to all of us. All right? So what happens over the years is that you start relying on that income as if your life depended on it. Okay? So the problem here was that I didn't have an income problem. I had a mindset problem. Okay? So many of us fail to think that it could be a mindset issue. We focus on creating more income. And that's a problem. And that's what I'm going to talk a bit about as we go. So money in itself is neutral. Okay? It's something that we instruct we tell it what it needs to do. All right? It's something we instruct. But if you don't see it as something that you instruct, then it then rules over you. If you don't control it, it will control you. But if you believe that money is a tool to build freedom, then guess what? You will handle it with purpose, no matter the amount. Because most of us think that when I start earning big money, that is when now I'll have my structures in place. That is when now I will start having a budget. In fact, let me tell you, when you don't have big money, that's when you need a budget the most. Because that's when you need to be putting money consistently aside to start growing it and investing it so that it changes your life. Okay? Money will never change your mindset, but your mindset can change your money. All right? Because you can have all the money in the world, but if you have the wrong mindset, it will never change. The mindset will never change. But if you change your mindset, you can change your destiny. Now, now I can say this. Now, in my book, so in my book, the first chapter, that one, yes, I love it. The first chapter is called The Real Block Isn't Money, It's Mindset. Now, the problem is, with your mindset talks about your beliefs, your habits, your thinking. And if you're not careful, these are what will take you down. And I'm going to explore some of the things that are 4 things that we have learned over time that could be the things that are hindering us from actually achieving the goal that each one of us are meant to achieve financial freedom. It's not a privilege for the select few. It's actually each one of us have that capability. This is about changing your mindset. Now, why I asked that question for 50 million, there's a video on YouTube. I can't remember the full name. It's called Privileged Something. It was a video shot some time back of, it was like a race, and there were a number of people standing at the start line, right? And there was this, now the guy who was coordinating the race had so many young men and women on the line. And the finish line, let's say, was 100 meters away. But he asked them, he said, before you start running, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. And if your answer to this question is yes, then you take 2 steps forward before we start the race. Okay? So some of the questions he asked was, do you come from a family where you had 2 parents? Some people took their 2 steps forward, others remained back. All right? Do you come from a family where you never had to worry about food on the table. Some people took 2 steps forward, others remained back. Do you come from a family where you had to get a scholarship so that you go to school? Some people took 2 steps forward, others. So at the end of it, you'd find, or rather in that video, you found that the people who were, even before the race started, were near the finish line, were some white guys mainly. The blacks were all the way at the back. Now guys, it's time we change the narrative. It's time we change the narrative. That's why I'm telling you, make sure your children wake up to a 50 million check. Okay? Change your mindset. And I really love what Rina said. Think as the person you want to be. I'm an investor. What does an investor do? All right? Don't start thinking like I'm an employee. No, I'm an investor. That then makes you think, okay, as an investor, if I want to build a house, what do I need to do? You may need to create 3-4 sources of income to do that. And that's necessary because sometimes one source of income is not enough. And that's why we teach how can we also increase your sources of income. Because with budgeting, also it limits you to how much you can put aside. So if you increase your sources of income, then a lot will change for you. All right. So the number one thing we can start is you've been taught to work hard, but not how to make money work for you. Okay? Most of us were told study hard so that you go to a good school, then you go to a good university, then you get a good job. So what was the constant narrative? Work hard, all right? But then in this narrative of working hard, there are certain consequences that come in mind. Number one, you rely 100% on active income. True or false? Because you believe I must work hard to earn money. So the day you stop working is the day your income stops. And that's what I was talking about. There's some people who enter employment with a 60-year plan of how they're going to work hard. Because you're working with the government's age of retirement and not your own financial plan. Now there's a report that was out some years back in the Business Daily. Talk about 82% of senior citizens above the age of 60 are still in active employment to meet their basic needs. Now those people are working hard, but they're not putting into place measures where their money works for them. So it means they didn't plan ahead of how can they make their money work for them. Number two is burnout. Because you're working so hard, Monday to Saturday afternoon. And you're going to do this for how many years? For so many years, with no end in sight. So of course your health becomes an issue. We talked about values, your family values will take a back seat. Your dreams and all these other things will take a back seat because if you stop working, your income stops. So time poverty, you're always busy making money but never free to enjoy it. And that leads to the next point, idle money. What does idle money mean? You have money lying around in your bank account or in your circles that's not being invested. Because you don't have time to do anything else. You have no time to look for opportunities to invest your money. You have no time to sit with coaches to help you. You have no time to look at what's happening out there that I can start as a business. So what happens? Your money is just accumulating in the bank. But guess what? It's also losing value while it's in the bank because of things like inflation, monthly charges to your account, transaction fees whenever you're transacting. Then finally, delayed freedom. Retirement becomes a far-off dream. Am I talking to somebody? Oh, I'm shouting. Okay. But the thing is this, don't work too hard that you miss opportunities around you. All right? Don't rely too much on one source of income at the expense of your future. The second consequence is you've been trained to hustle, but not to build. The Kenyan philosophy, in fact, our president is a hustler. See, that's what he says. I'm a hustler. So he has glorified hustling. But hustling without building leads to nothing. Because hustling means I have 3-4 jobs I'm doing every day. Right? But if I'm not managing, I'm not putting in systems to stop me from hustling the whole of my life, then it'll be back to working hard. Okay? So you need to have a different mindset that as you're creating alternative sources of income, you're building systems that will make it a short-term thing and not a lifelong thing. So what are some of the consequences of this? Constant grind, but no growth. You're always moving but not making any real progress. Because whatever you start, it's only you who can do it. There's no opportunity for scaling because you're a broker and you don't want to start your own office for brokerage. You're just a broker. So whenever there's a deal, you're there, you make your small money, you're out. So it'll never be a sustainable thing. We always think about what's the next deal that can come. So in essence, you're confusing motion for progress. Because you're busy, you're hustling. You're busy, you're hustling. But if you're not building systems that will keep this money and make it work for you, then you're still hustling. Okay? Disorganized finances. Now, this is the one we deal with the most. Because as you're hustling, you have how many income streams? 4 or 5. Yeah? But remember, you're employed, right? So your employment is one of your sources of income, yeah? So what many people do, you say, my employment one is the one I budget for. Then your other 3-4 sources of income, it's never tracked anywhere. You don't account for it anywhere. And no one can ask about it anyway. All right? So the problem is, you're earning from your salary, let's say you're earning 50,000. But from your side hustles, you're earning an additional 30,000. What you don't realize is because you have disorganized expenses, you'll be wasting 30,000 every month because you think it's little money. Like, because you grabbed 2,000 here, 5,000 there. Because when someone pays you 2,000 shillings, maybe, let's say you sold something, you got 2,000 bob. Because to you, it's not money you worked for, like your job. Huh? What happens is this 2,000, as I'm walking by KFC calls me inside. And I have a nice 5 pizza. All right? Naenda nyumbani nalala vizuri, it was a good day, si ndio? Then tomorrow again I get another client, gives me 10K. And I buy curtains. Sorry, I'm just kidding. But basically, what I'm saying is, all that money, what I'm saying is, all that extra money always goes to consumption. And that's the hard part, because when you ask somebody who has been hustling for years, and they keep telling you, tunangangana tu, we are still hustling, you're like, I hope there's an end to it. Because if you don't change and start investing this extra income, this 30K per month somewhere, then it will never end. The cycle will never end. All right, so this one, it really pains me whenever you make extra money, but then you're always saying, hey, I still need to borrow some. I still need to borrow. Yet, if you just organize that money, in fact, what you do, little advice, if you're in that business that gives you some piecemeal every day, what you do, keep it in somewhere, whether it's your bank or somewhere where we can't touch it, until end month. Then now put it together with your salary and now budget. Does that make sense? And say, now I have 80,000 shillings. I think that will make it easier for you to see, oh wow, I actually have an opportunity to invest a lot more than I usually think I have. Or I have more money that I can use to pay down my debt than I really think I have. Cindy, does that make sense? Okay, but if you look at it piecemeal, you'll always look at it like it's little money, okay? Then, short-term wins and long-term struggle. So you're looking for very short-term solutions. Hustling is always just to get an extra buck, okay? So if your mindset is towards just hustling, you're just looking for short-term solutions. But if you're looking to build, then you'll always have a long-term view to it. You'll always have an end date in mind. I admire those people who say, I'm entering this job, but I'll only be here for 5 years. Ask your neighbor, is that you? I admire those people because they have such a clear plan why they're going to be there for 5 years. After 5 years, I'm done because I'm moving on to the next thing in life. So my challenge to you is, do you know how long you intend to be where you are right now? Do you know? Or is it just about, this job pays me well, I'll be here. If our next one comes, then I'll take it also. Because those short-term things is what keeps you living paycheck to paycheck and with no exit in mind. Now, the exit could be planned or unplanned. So you better choose the one that is planned than the unplanned one. No business foundation. Your businesses or your hustles they're not scalable. Okay? They're not scalable. No clear structure. So if you have a long-term view, then you'll have to create some structure. Say, for example, if you intend to be selling something for a long period of time, it means at some point you have to think about, am I going to establish a shop? Am I going to be selling these things online? Do I need to start having an online presence? Such things will enable you to start establishing yourself. But if you just believe that this thing is short-term, then you'll never think of doing such things at all. So what happens at the end? Stress overload. You're always busy, but rarely fulfilled. So be a hustler, but also build systems. Don't let that extra money go to waste. All right. The third thing, I think we've alluded to it. Earning more money is the answer. That's how many of us operate. I just need to get a better paying job. Then all my troubles will go away. Hallelujah. Just like me, I just needed to get a job. Once I got the job, all of a sudden I'm asking for a pay rise because my expenses are not fitting in the 45,000. I need to be paid more. You start getting mad at your bosses. So, lifestyle inflation is one of the things that comes. As income rises, your expenses rise. So you upgrade every time you get an increase in income. So at the end of a very nice career path, you know the people in the rural areas judge the people who live in Nairobi. They say, you've been in Nairobi 20 years. but they don't see real development. Am I speaking? Am I lying? Because they are like, you've been working all those years. How come there's no real development? But the problem is, we've been here with every increase in our income, we're increasing our lifestyle. So the money that we would have taken towards investment is not really there. So we find ourselves, in fact, we dread the day we have to go home to retire or something like that, because we have nothing substantial to take back. Poor saving habits. So you assume more money will fix the gaps. So for example, you say, my budget is not fitting right now. Hey, that statement. My budget is not fitting right now, so I need to get more money so that my budget fits. I don't know whether it's Alex who said about, start with where you are. Remember, you had asked that question, where now, for this season of our lives, we have to live according to this budget. And then when we advance and we have two sources of income, then we can move to this level. But then as we want to live at this level and say all we need to do is increase our income. So what does that mean? That we are all the time playing catch up. You're always, like even in a football match, if you're always playing defense, then chances are the best result of that game will be a draw. 0-0. You will never win. So if you're always playing catch up, your whole life is catch up, your whole life is defense, then you'll never get that breather that you so much desire. All right? So it's time that you change strategy and think of how can I be on the offensive. Being on the offensive is hard because it means taking some hard decisions for your life for now. And then future, you can actually win in this life. Debt traps. Because I earn more money, I can access bigger loans. In fact, I used to work in an organization where they used to do these collabos with banks. And they say, okay, you can give our staff loans. And I remember so clearly. And we used to laugh because I used to do it. We go to the person who's giving us loans, the institution, whether it's a bank, KCB or who, and we just give them your pay slip. We say, "Neza pata ngapi hapo?" It's true. You always just go and say, "Neza pata ngapi hapo?" Did I have a plan for the loan? No. Or maybe I had a plan, but maybe it was not a good plan. But when you're given a loan, when you have no plan for it, chances are it will always go to waste. Because number one, it just goes into your account, and then as you're thinking what to do, you're still going to KFC, you're still buying clothes, you're still buying your TV, and then maybe you took a loan for 500K. Before you know it, you have 300,000 in the account. Then you're like, not even this 300, I can't even buy a plot. Then you continue eating. Then next thing you're like, yeah, let's buy a fridge. Then you pay at least 2 terms of school fees. Then you're like, at least. And then now you're tied for 3 years paying that 500 that has no ROI. Am I talking to somebody? False security. You feel safe because you have a good salary. This is a very sad thing, and I'm talking from somebody with experience. Because you earn a good salary, and so you think you will always be okay. So you could afford to spend unbudgeted any amount of money at any given time. You feel safe until COVID happened. Where? All of a sudden you're being told we are downsizing, or we are doing pay cuts, 50%. Sa hiyo ulisha commit, ulisema loan, kata, hiyo inaleta ngapi? All right? So COVID happens, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I can't even pay my next rent, or I can't sustain my current lifestyle for even 2 months. So you have a false sense of security. Then missed goals. So you're focusing on earning more, but not optimizing what you're earning. So we're always just chasing, what's the next option for me to earn more? What's the next option? You're looking at money to sort out your gaps. But at the end of the day, you're missing opportunities because remember, time and chance come to everyone. So that guy who had invested 5 million and a good deal for a house that maybe was being sold at a throwaway price, they would buy a house at 5 million. But you'll miss that opportunity because you had not planned for it. You are not ready. It found you, you had not planned yourself. So the income trap. Extra money is never the answer. It's about first manage what you have better. Once you manage what you have better, it means you'll always be having some extra money on the side to get into opportunities that can earn you more money. Okay? Once that is there for you, then your lifestyle will start changing. You'll start taking yourself on holiday from dividends, not from your salary. Cynthia, that's the lifestyle we want. You start doing the things you love from the interests you make from your investments. That means your capital is ever increasing. All right. Final one. Trusting yourself over the source. What do I mean by this? You're forgetting that God is your provider. So when is it Deuteronomy 8:18? It is God who gives you the ability to create wealth, all right? It's Him who gives you the ability. So when you start thinking that you're the thing, you trust yourself over your source, then a number of things also happen, okay? Anxiety and constant striving. So you take on pressure you are not meant to carry, because now when you take on a certain title, you take on the responsibility that comes with it. When you take on a job as a CEO, you take the CEO's salary, but also the CEO's stress. Okay? So it's important that you look at things differently. Your life does not depend on your job or your hustles or your networks. Those are simply channels through which God provides for us. Now, if you think you are the source, then work becomes stressful and not purposeful. So you find yourself, you're always stressed because this work is not fulfilling. You're working hard, but you're also forgetting that you are not the source. I love what Pauline said. Faith is in the doing, action. So you do, and you trust that opportunities will also open up for you. Because your God is your provider and He sees what you do. The second thing is limited generosity and vision. Because you believe the resources come from your hard work, then chances are you'll not be generous, you'll not be tithing, you'll not be helping anybody out, and then also your goals and visions and ambitions will be very small because you're always budgeting. Your vision is determined by your budget. Sindio? So if, for example, someone says, but I only earn 20,000 shillings. So their vision is, the best I can do is, I'll never do certain things. So they keep themselves in a box. You know such people? Yeah, they never think outside, that they'll never do the things. They never think they'll get to fly out of the country. They never think they'll get to interact with certain people because they limit their visions to what they can provide for themselves. So it's important that you realize that there is a source in place who then enables you to give freely, enables you to serve your community, enables you to do all these things. Because one thing we never believe is that we will fall sick, we'll get into an accident. We never think of such things happening to us, right? But now, if you live a lifestyle where you never helped anyone out, who will come visit you when you need help? Who will come? Nobody. So, understanding again that when you know who your source is, then your vision is big. Your vision expounds. You talk things like, I will be, as Pauline said, she's now going to the global stage. She's not done. So ask yourself, are you done with what you have, or there's still a lot more you need to achieve? How big is your vision? Then lastly, loss of spiritual intimacy. When your pride checks in, because you believe you're the source, you forget time to pray because you're very busy. Prayer becomes optional instead of essential. Your purpose doesn't come from you. So how can you forget to be in touch with that person who gives you your purpose? So your faith weakens, your trust shifts from creator to created things. So somebody mentioned that you start worshiping your money. You expect that to be your provider. So I say these things because we need to think that life is more than the money we are chasing. There's a bigger purpose. And that's why the summit this year was investing with purpose. And I love the fact that, guys, believe it or not, we did not have a Zoom call with the speakers before this summit. We did not have a Zoom call to tell them, guys, what are you going to talk about? Everyone aligned like this. True or false? All of us were speaking the same things. Did you hear value from everyone? Did you hear God from everyone? Did you hear planning and vision and all these things from everyone? Now, those are people who understand what purpose means. And I hope that you also will live knowing now where you stand in terms of your purpose. Are you aligned or misaligned? And what do you need to do to get back towards really chasing your purpose? Because it's very easy to get lost in employment. And you find yourself, one day you wake up, it's been 60 years. In fact, it happens to more ladies than gents. Ladies can stay in one organization for 30 years because it's comfortable. They let me go home at 4:30. You get? Because it keeps me in my comfort zone. But now, is it what you want to do your whole life? That is the question. Sorry? I'm not saying you leave your work. I'm saying ask yourself, what is the bigger plan? That's why I said, when some people enter a job, they're like, I'm here for 5 years, and this is what I want to achieve in those 5 years. Then what next? Have a bigger plan to it, all right? Don't just go to work every morning at 8 and leave at 5 with no bigger plan in mind. Same thing goes for businesses. Is your business, it started off as a hustle, yes, but what's the next step? You need to register the name, yes. You need to have an official bank account, yes. You need to start doing certain things, yes. There must always be the next step. Again, money will never change your mindset, but your mindset can change your money. Now, if you keep doing the same things over and over and expecting different results, yeah, it was described as insanity. If you believe money is a tool to build freedom, then you will handle it with purpose, no matter the amount that you have. The greatest investment you can make is in transforming your mind. So I love that you guys have come here because you are intentional in terms of transforming your mind. And that's the foundation on which every other financial breakthrough is built. Because if we come here and we give you different strategies for investing, in fact, here we even give you strategies for 1 million. And the people who are saying, what is wrong with those figures? Guys, you must aspire to say, even I want to invest 1 million. Okay? Don't say, hey, those guys are out of my league. No, you're thinking small. Okay? So financial freedom isn't reserved for a lucky few. It's available to everyone who is willing to change their mind, their habits, and their story. So make it your purpose today to change your children's reality. Whether you have them now or not yet. But make sure that your child one day will say, I thank God for my father or my mother who left me with 50 million bob. Amen? Money will never change your mindset, but your mindset can change your money. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.